Greetings everybody, this is Leviathan here, and today we are going to discuss the solo self-found league for season 14. When I originally introduced the league, we did a video very similar to this that went over the rules, submission process, all that stuff. So if you're planning to participate in the solo self-found league for season 14 and you did it last time, we really haven't changed too much. So I would still suggest just going through this document, which will be linked in the video description, and making sure that you're familiar with everything, that you remember all the verification processes and all that stuff, so that you make sure you submit rankings that will be eligible. But in general, if you're brand new, this will be a great video for you so you can understand what's expected of you if you're going to be participating in the solo self-found league. And then we'll also showcase the Discord server, where we have the channel where everyone hangs out and talks, and then we also have the SSF helper channel. And even though the bot that SVR created is down right now, it can kind of just show you what you can expect if you hang out and check it out and use it. So without further ado, I'll just go ahead and basically talk. I updated this June 12th, and whenever we do update it, that date will change, so you'll know exactly what's new on this document, and I'll also be highlighting any changes after this video goes live in green, so that way if you listen to this video, you read through everything, then you should be up to date, and then anything from that point on will be highlighted in green. So again, the goal of the solo self-found league is just to give a space to players that want to play 100% solo, just because of the way the leaderboards in-game work. People can play in groups 99% of their season and then come and do solo stuff. And you know, it just doesn't feel great if you want to play only solo and compare yourself to people who are only playing solo as well. So that's what this space is for. Hopefully, you know, Blizzard is aware of this. Hopefully it's going to impact maybe future development of the next game. Not quite sure if it'll ever affect Diablo 3, but hey, keep your fingers crossed. This spot will be usable for you to get any documents that help pertain to the league. So the submission form when you want to submit ranking results, the league rankings when you want to check where you're at and what other players in the league are doing, and then this video itself will also be linked here. So this I would go and bookmark this rules and regulations document, because it'll sort of be your home page, if you will, to get to everything else that you need for participating in the league. And then when we start to rack up old league results, like last season's, season 13's league results, we'll have a link to those too, so you can go and see what happened in the history of the league. As far as establishing it, league is tied to seasonal play, so non-seasonal characters aren't eligible. League seasons run the same length as regular in-game seasons. So, you know, this season starts on Friday, June 15th, and it's estimated to end somewhere in the middle of September. So the league for season 14, solo self-found, will run that same length. Players on PC version from the Americas, Europe, and Asia regions are all eligible. And even if you are primarily an Americas player, you might go to Europe and have your solo self-found endeavors over there. So, you know, you can use any of the regions available to you. You can play softcore and or hardcore. So some players had both hardcore and softcore solo self-found last season. You can do mix or match. It's just that whatever mode you choose, you can't have any group rankings on that mode, or otherwise your rankings will be ineligible. And we'll get to that in the rules section too. But you can do softcore, hardcore. And you can play as many classes or characters as you want. Some people had rankings for every single class last season because they're crazy. But yeah, the sky's the limit. And it's encouraged, but not required, this was a change from last season, to have SSF in your character's name. It'll kind of help promote the league if players see it and they're like, oh cool, SSF, what's that? And we have some clans as well too that players in the league have created. So if you want to join a solo self-found clan or have SSF in your character's name and stuff, could help spread the word, but it's not required. So onto the rules. To be eligible for the current league season, your seasonal progression has to be fresh. So that means you can't have done any grouping or power leveling, built up crafting materials, any of that stuff prior to joining the league season. Everything has to be fresh. Otherwise, if you've grouped before and then you're like, oh, now I'm going to start SSF, then that doesn't quite work. You must play entirely solo when you're participating in the league season. So again, I mentioned this is 100% solo. That's what the league is established around. That's what we're trying to advocate for. So that means you can't join a game with other players in it for any reason, can't go and collect some bounty caches from someone else, or invite players to come and get your bounty caches, can't participate in group greater rifts, any of that stuff, no power levels, giving or receiving. Solo only is the mission here, so it's very strict. As a suggestion, you can turn off your quick join function so that way no one can hop into your game by accident when you're doing some solo self-found league stuff. It's in the social options, and we put an image to that here. We can quickly show it on screen so you can see in social on the top right, enable quick join. If you turn that off, then no one can just hop into your game. So helps out a little bit. If a group Greater Rift clear is found to be associated with your account when you're participating in the solo self-found league season, then the admins can't accept rankings for you on that mode. So if you were to go and do a Greater Rift 40 clear or something with 2 players, 3 players, 4 players, and then that was your softcore side of things, and then you tried to submit a solo self-found softcore barbarian clear or something, we wouldn't be able to take that because you have a group ranking and we can't determine what that was for, or if you're trying to do like group but not group, or it's got to be strict. It's got to be solo only for the mode that you choose to do solo self-found. And then the admins can't police everything that a single player does in the league, so the honor system is in full effect. If you have the capability to stream, you should definitely try to stream as much of your SSF play as possible, so that way if there are any disputes or if someone comes along and says, something doesn't look right on this person's results, then you can say, oh, I streamed it all, like go and check out my stream VOD or whatever. But in general, the idea is that if you're participating in this league, then you're doing it voluntarily, hopefully with the idea that you're going to follow the rules and your fellow colleagues will all be following the rules and stuff. So we do have methods that we will use to verify results that we honed last season, but again, it's a lot of the honor system, so please do your best. Let's see, the terms of service and the end user license agreement are still valid in the league, so there's no botting or use of third-party software that's allowed or tolerated. So if anyone's found to be in violation, their rankings will be removed. Just keep that in mind. We are still following all that stuff. We don't want cheaters. And you can complete the weekly challenge rift as long as you do it solo. So a lot of people have asked in the past, hey, can I do the challenge rift? Can I do the CR? Yes, you can. You just have to do it solo. And then for hardcore specifically, if you die, you can still use your backup items in your stash and your new character. This was a question that we got a little bit too. So the solo self-found portion of the league is applied at your account, right? So you are a solo self-found player, and then you have solo self-found characters. And so that means anytime you have a hardcore character that's going to be solo self-found, then anything that you found, like say you're playing solo self-found barbarian, and then you want to make a crusader, that's the reason why we say you can submit multiple classes, multiple characters, because you're still doing solo self-found as like the umbrella, if you will, and then any characters under that umbrella all fall into that solo self-found bucket. So you can share stuff among them. It's the solo self-found player with their characters, if that makes sense. As far as community stuff goes, we've got a lot of things to help you guys all stay together. We have some text and voice channels located on Discord for people to discuss the solo self-found league, and there's a link to click there that'll bring you an invite right into the Discord server. And I'll showcase right now Discord. It's really fun. I love Discord. I'm so glad this is a thing. So here you can see this is the solo self-found league channel that we have on the Discord, and people just always chat, and we're always talking about ways to make the league better or what people are enjoying or doing with the league, all that stuff. It's usually really crazy, especially when the season starts. And then like I was mentioning, we have the solo self-found helper channel, and this is where you can put in commands for SVR's bot to pull rankings. It uses the Blizzard API to pull rankings, so you can kind of get some up-to-date stuff on who the top 20 clears or whatever queries you put in, who's got the highest paragon, like all that stuff. So this is pretty cool. Makes being part of the Discord another exciting and lively thing, so definitely check that out. Check out the Discord. And I was just talking about that solo self-found helper channel that's next on the list here, as developed by SVR, so thank you to you, SVR, if you're listening for that. Appreciate it. And then each region, Americas, Europe, and Asia, has an in-game community that's entitled Solo Self-Found League, and we encourage all the participants to join it so that you can connect with one another and trash talk, or compare results, see who's doing what, be able to hang out with each other, even though you can't play together, of course. Just be able to have some company while you adventure alone. So if you go into the game and you use your in-game community search, you can easily find the league. Just type in SSF League and you'll get your community for that region. And then, as I mentioned, some participants can choose to make or join SSF clans. If you make one and it's not on this list, let us know. Either send an email to the admin email or pop in the Discord, let us know. and then we can add it to the list. But there are 3 of them in the Americas currently, as you can see on the screen. Solo self-found for the win, solo self-found SSF Boo, and then Europe has SSF Europe. And as they come or go too, we can update the list. As far as submissions go, players fill out a Google form whenever they want to submit an entry for ranking. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there's a link to that form. It tracks date, battle tag, region, mode, class, Paragon, which is a new thing we're adding. So you'll have the Paragon of the clear right next to the clear. Greater Rift, time, screenshot, and then an optional video. If you want to record your video for your clear, you can get that and people can look and see what you did. Screenshot should be from the profile page, so here's an example of it, and people were getting this wrong quite a bit. So this is exactly what your screenshot should look like when you submit it to the league. You're going to hover over the results. So I have my Crusader that I cleared a 113. If you put your mouse over this in your profile, then it gives you this little hover that shows all the details, the Paragon, all that stuff. So that is what we're looking for. If the screenshot's incorrect, you're going to get an email from the admin team letting you know that you have to resubmit or redo the screenshot so that it complies with the league rules. I can't tell you how many times we had to get people to fix it. So please try to do that. You can also submit a video, like I mentioned, that's optional. And there's no limit to the amount of times that you can submit per day, but we do ask that in order to keep administration time down, that you just wait until you did your last grid riff for the day. So say in a play session on a Saturday, right? You're gonna do a whole bunch of grade riffs. You did grade riff 86, 87, 88, 89. Instead of every time you finish one coming to the form and submitting my 86, my 87, my 88, just wait until the end of the day and do your 89. Then we don't have to look through 4 results. We can just have that one at the end, and it will speed up the time when you're wondering if your result has been seen or verified. Well, you gave us 4 to look through and you could have only given us 1. So that's kind of, you know, this is all volunteer work from the admin team and stuff, so if you can help them, they can help you. Otherwise, if you'd like to retire from the league before it ends, sometimes players will do like a few weeks to start out the season as SSF and then go into traditional grouping or whatever you might call it. Then you can send an email. The admin email is d3ssfleague@gmail.com, and it will mark your ranking as final. And that way, you know, if someone goes and later looks at your account and they're like, oh, they have group rankings and stuff, then, you know, we're like, oh, they retired, so don't worry about it. And otherwise, the deadline, this is a new thing here too, the deadline for your last submission that we can accept for the league season is 24 hours after the season ends. So we have to cut it off at some point. So whenever Blizzard lets us know the last day of the season is X, and 24 hours from X, we'll be able to accept the last rankings for the Solo Self-Found League. As far as verification goes, we have an admin team that I've been mentioning. We'll verify the results, make sure that the league's operating smoothly and fairly as possible. Verification results in us checking, make sure that there's no grouping, botting, or doing anything against the rules or the spirit of the league, and at least allow us 24 hours to pass from your submission before you inquire whether we've had a chance to verify it yet. Because when the league first started, there were so many people being like, I just submitted 5 minutes ago, I don't see it on the thing. And like, you gotta give us some time. The admins that are doing this stuff, again, volunteering, often playing as well, so they want to try to get their time in too. But all the results will try to have 24-hour turnaround. At the beginning of the season, it might be a little slower because there usually are just a lot of activity going on. Otherwise, if you'd like to file a complaint or an inquiry, you can reach the admins again with the admin email, d3ssfleague@gmail.com. Now, frequently asked questions, whenever we get more of these, we'll update this section as well too. Again, I mentioned after this video goes up, any new stuff will be highlighted in that green highlight. But is there pre-reg? Nope, no pre-registration. First thing that you do when you enter the league is just submit a ranking. So you can go ahead, play SSF. As soon as you feel like you've got a ranking you want to submit that. And then once it's verified, then you're officially in the league because your result will pop up on the spreadsheet for rankings. So just make sure you know the rules so that you can make sure your submission's eligible. Will there be rewards? We're actually still working on that. I've been talking to some different people, trying to see if we can get rewards going for the league, because I think it would be great to have a sustainable and meaningful reward structure. We haven't yet nailed anything down for it, but in the future, I'm hoping that that will be a thing for this. Why is it PC only? So I mentioned early on that it was only players on PC in Americas, Europe, and Asia. The console environment and the PC environment are pretty different. I think anyone that's played both can understand that. And we would like to eventually have essentially like a console version of this, but it would require a lot more manpower, people to check it, things like that. So we haven't yet nailed down all the details for that. We've been talking to some people here and there about it, so it might be a future feature in the SSF League, but as of right now, we're just limiting it to PC. And is there a minimum greater rift level that you should submit results for? Nope, there's no minimum, but just common sense rules, right? So best practice, like I was mentioning, is just wait till the end of your play session and then submit the highest greater rift. So if you did an 80, 81, 82, 83, and submit the highest one from that day, you know, instead of all of those. Can I submit rankings with different classes or accounts? Yes. As long as your accounts and characters adhere to the rules noted above, then you can submit those rankings across as many classes or accounts as you would like. So you can have one result per class per account. An example of this is if you submit a Greater Rift 100 clear as a Softcore Crusader, and that's your account Leviathan, then if you submitted a Greater Rift 101 clear as a Solo Crusader on the Leviathan account, it overwrites the 100. So it works similarly to the way that the in-game leaderboards work. But again, basically for anyone that might have multiple accounts and they want to try SSF on, you know, multiple softcore, hardcore, just anyone that maybe would try to like go for multiple results or something like that, it is possible. As far as Conquest goes, we really want to try to implement Conquest into the Solo Self-Found League, so have, you know, first person to Paragon 1000 or something like that. We haven't quite figured out the best way to track those things, or to even do like, you know, wacky, you know, now we have theme seasons for Diablo 3. We might even have like theme Solo Self-Found League seasons and stuff. So we're trying to figure out how to implement those things, because the rankings and the spreadsheets and all that will look a little different. We're potentially trying to work on getting like a website and everything too. So as we get like more robust ways to run this thing, then I think we can implement some really cool stuff. So we have some cool ideas for conquests or themes and such as part of the feedback that we've been getting. So hopefully we can implement some of those in the future. And like I mentioned, this will get updated as we get more frequently asked questions. And if you have any feedback, suggestions, questions, anything you want to discuss, feel free to send an email, d3ssfleague@gmail.com. And that's going to be it, guys. That wraps up the Solo Self-Found League rules, regulations, processes, all that stuff. If I didn't answer anything, or if you have a question that needs clarification or anything like that, feel free to come into the comments section and let me know. I'm going to be monitoring it in the next few days, so I can answer anything you need. Definitely join us in Discord. All the links to that stuff will be in the video description. And come and hang out and get some hype going for Season 14. Coming up on Friday. It will be here shortly. So let's go, let's go, let's go. I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you can see future updates on anything that I've got going. I have a few more videos coming out to celebrate the beginning of Season 14 and help you out depending on what class you might be and all that stuff. So make sure to come and see the content. Thank you for watching. Adios.